What's going on, social media land? There's a whole lot of things we could be talking about that's going on in this country. Gun control is one of the biggest damn things we could all be talking about. And quite frankly, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, is clear. It's crystal clear. It's very, very clear. Because it says within the Second Amendment, okay, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Everybody wants to say, well, we regulate the First Amendment, we regulate this amendment. Does any of those other amendments say that the right to keep free speech shall not be infringed? Or does it specifically word things in that direction with the Second Amendment when it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed? Because it seems pretty much like common sense if you read it. Sure, it talks about, all states should have a well-regulated militia. But that's to ensure a free state. All states should have a well-regulated militia to ensure a free state. And the right of the people in those states, in this United States, to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That doesn't say the right to keep and bear arms until Congress says otherwise. It doesn't say any of that. Everybody's wanting to blame the gun and blame the gun and blame the gun and blame the gun because he ain't got no other than else to blame. They don't want to be held accountable because you know what? If they do studies into video games, it's going to be much like porn. A lot of people can watch porn out here, and you know what happens? Studies have been conducted into watching porn. I think the Red Elephant's done a video on this talking about this, and they made some really good points about it. You see, if a person watches it enough, you slowly become addicted to porn. And then before you know it, you start watching the more hardcore stuff. And the more hardcore stuff you watch, the more you get adapted to it. It's just like a drug. Whenever you take drugs, you get hooked on harder drugs and harder drugs and harder drugs. You get hooked on more and more porn. And then suddenly it kills your sex life. It makes you, want to go out here and cheat on your spouse. It makes you want to go out here, and it pushes some people to rape. And a lot of the rapists out here started with porn. Who's to say that playing video games and listening to violent music and things like that is not no different? Especially when these kids are subject to social media. Because all these shootings and all these mass school shootings, they never happened the way that they have been until social media was around. Because guns have been around forever, but not social media. Social media hasn't been around forever, but guns have been. At one point in time, everybody was taking guns to school, and it was fine. They had gun clubs and all that good stuff, and no problems there. Whenever God was in schools, then there wasn't no gun problems there. People's morals, people's methods, their principles, their values, the way they parent their damn children, the way they let a TV raise their children, the way they let these schools indoctrinate their children so that they don't have to deal with them is part of the problem. And maybe that's why America has a problem, because most working men and women out here, most of the time, if you're working, you're busting your ass for everything you've got, and you ain't got no damn choice but to let the schools and the televisions and everything else, the video games, raise your kids. And you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know what's going on in their social media. And nobody wants to be held accountable for the fact that you have no fucking idea what's going on. Nobody wants to be held accountable for the fact that it's going to take disciplining your children and raising them the right way, telling them, I don't give a fuck if your feelings are hurt or not. You are not a fucking girl. You are a boy. You was born a boy. If you want to be gay, that's different. You can be gay. Accept you for that. But you're not some other gender just because you fucking pretend to be. Shit like that is the exact problem in this country. That is the exact problem in this country, because nobody wants to be held accountable. Just like the 39 times that the damn sheriff's department, mental health professionals, CPS, the FBI had tips on Nicholas Cruz being a professional school shooter, and the system let him down, but nobody's heads are rolling because nobody wants to be held fucking accountable for what happens in this country anymore, and that is the root of all this bullshit. Instead of blaming the gun, everybody needs to start turning around and looking at their damn self.